Check out YouTube here.
Hey, is it still your birthday?
Still my birth month.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I hope we're not recording.
Oh yeah, we
No,
were live. I
no,
just got
no,
on.
no, no.
Yeah, no, that was
That
perfect.
is hysterical. I saw the neck. I don't even think I can do that neck thing. Got that going on too.
I don't
Birth
know,
from
but maybe
another
we can
mother.
get it on the recording too. Go ahead. Do that again. What was that? That sounded
Is
great,
there
man.
happy birthday to you? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. That's it.
I
The rest you
love it.
got paid.
Love it.
Now I'm
Love
playing.
it. Thank you,
Happy
man.
birthday, Blakester.
Woo!
Birthday
Welcome
month.
to the show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. It is another Monday, one of my favorite days of the week, TGIM and all that fun stuff. You're here live if you're there on the YouTube channel watching with the Lost Transition. So we come and meet every Monday, 12 Eastern Standard Time. Pleasure to have you guys in here. The way it works around here is we have some things that we share for those of you that are looking to transition from that job to more of the conventional or unconventional, shall we say, work from home person, network marketer, entrepreneur. We like to serve that community specifically. As somebody that's been doing this for 30 plus years of working for myself, learning at a very young age that the job just wasn't for me. And I like to report and happily report and say, I'm technically unemployable. Yes. Yes. I am technically unemployable. I love that. And this all came from years of experience and, ultimately understanding what my true worth is. And today I've got some treats for you guys, as we normally do. But today, we just came off from our birthday weekend celebration. It's my birth month. We had quite some revelations over the weekend that I'm looking forward to sharing with you today, as well as a block of instructions. So definitely take notes. We do drop gold nuggets and many times gold bars around here. So it's very important. Pay attention, take notes, and then make sure you ask questions at the very end if you need to. We will open it up for questions and answers, that kind of thing. It is a mastermind, but what we always like to start off with is from those of you in the audience. We love to hear your wins. I love living vicariously through you because I can't be everywhere at once, right? Um, but that's how we start the show. Then today we're going to talk about awareness and manifestation. We're going to talk about leading with presence and purpose. This is week 28 of our mastermind. Who wants to start us off with the wins? And hello, Kayla and Sam. Hi. Pleasure you being here. Hello, Nichelle. Who wants to start off? And then I need a little bit of time so that I can share a couple of my wins and then we'll transition into what we're going to talk about today. Any wins? Don't be shy.
I guess I can start it off. Oh no, go, Jackie. Please go start it off.
No, you raise your hand first.
Did I raise my hand first? Good morning,
No,
everybody. Did
go
I raise
ahead, Jackie.
my hand first?
We got you.
Oh, okay. Yes. So my win is I have been actively doing the 5 a week, the 5 an hour. And out of that five, I've made some connections and I actually got a referral for funding, for business funding. I submitted the file and I'm just waiting to see whether or not the business is going to be funded. So that's my win. Thank
Yay.
you.
So now, if you know that, right, now you know all you need to do is just do those five, right? And just add that into your repetition of what you're doing. The beautiful thing about that is the numbers don't lie, right?
Yeah.
They don't lie. And then uh, Jackie and I were speaking last week, and I was saying that when you're out there and you're talking to, let's say it's five people an hour that maybe don't qualify, and you're getting one out of those five, imagine what happens when you're speaking to five people that actually do qualify. And then you get two or three because of just focusing on having those 5 contacts per hour. You know what I'm saying? So congratulations. I love that Jackie is putting into use what we talk about here and showing that it works. Yes, congratulations, my friend. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Dorea, what you got? Share some wins. Hi, Tina.
Hi everyone. So, very interesting, eventful week for me. I actually got one of my tooth pulled, one of my teeth pulled. Okay, you know.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah, my
everybody.
tooth. And so it's one of those things. And so I've been very loopy and very druggy, and the kids just been having a great time of this personality that's been coming out. Just really goofy. And so what has happened is yeah, it caused me to sit down and be still. And so some really crazy things has happened because of that. So I'm gonna share with you. Um, my niece, who's she's an adult, she's technically adult, but has cerebral palsy, and found out that she wants to learn and able to learn, and the school system kind of shooed her away. And found out when I got here with her full time in 2023 that she can read and she wants to read. So I've been buying books and stuff, and I said, you know, why don't I create something that's specifically for her with her sister's names and stuff like that, with her pictures and stuff. So I created, she's at the second grade reading level now, and I created a site workbook for her with her image, and I'm gonna share with you that. And then um, also,
May
yes,
I? A quick
yes,
question. I don't want to interrupt you. Is this the girl that you're taking care of as her mother? Could you do a real quick favor? Not everybody here knows the backstory. Could you tell us the
yeah.
backstory behind that, please?
You know, I came here from Baltimore. I live in Oklahoma. I moved out here to help my mom because she had custody of my sister's 3 children. One had cerebral palsy. She's 22, a 16, and a 12-year-old. And so I came out here, and 9 months later, she passed away, and then I became a single mom overnight. Long story short, try to get them reunited with their mom. Mom had another incident. So now they're all with me. So now I'm taking care of my sister and her 3 kids. And so yeah, so it's been very interesting. You know, never been able to get pregnant, so it's kind of like I have a family, and it's really cool being ex-military and rah rah, and now I'm like mushy gushy. And you know, I told the kids I don't know anything about being a mother. I just know HR because that was my job, and I know military. So people got job descriptions, we got schedules. We have on the walls, we got the board with calendar and with all their little appointments and stuff. We have meetings every night at 10 o'clock with meetings and prayer. I mean, we're on a schedule, and so
Love it.
they love it. The kids actually love it. And you know,
Structure.
yeah, they get to tell us every day what they appreciate and what they learned. And
Wow.
so, yeah, it's been a really great experience. They've never had structure before, and they're thriving. It's been really great.
I
And I
love
didn't know what the heck I'm doing, but thank God, because
it.
this is
Amen.
only a God thing for me.
Amen, girl. Amen. Please continue.
So,
Continue.
so thank you. And then what I also did, we had a little Bible lesson, and God gave me a great idea to show him how to use like the life cycle of a butterfly to pertain to how we're supposed to grow in Christ. And so I also end up creating a book using AI, create a book, and was able to upload images that look similar to them. And so I'm going to share it in the chat. Unfortunately, I the people that could be doing this on replay may not be able to see it, but these are a couple of things I was able to
You
do
want to share your
using.
screen real quick?
Sure. Let me
I'll let you
see.
do that. Um,
Yeah, so they can see. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull it up. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. I gotta make sure I know what screen I want to show. So share.
Yeah, I think this is important, especially when it comes to kids and teaching people early. It's going to lead into what we're talking about today anyway, with awareness and manifestation, leading with presence and purpose. So thank you for
So,
sharing it.
yeah, so this is the three girls with Ari. That's one of the thing. This is the let's see if I can do. So no, 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 that's not it. The actual no, it's this one. The
By the way,
actual
all of those
sorry about that.
images, all of those images are great.
Yeah, so this is the actual the story, the cover, book cover. And then as far as the sight words go, the word, the sight word is discovered. Hopefully you can see that.
Sure.
And so we're able to, she's in her wheelchair, but she understands who she is, but she's able to discover. And then we have activities where she can trace the words, put them in sentences. There's different activities that goes along with the books with her images, and then I put it in a way where she can color it and just have things to do. So we have one for each week of stuff that she can learn on her own, and then we take turns in the family assisting her in her words and stuff like that. So. These are just a couple of things that we're able to do AI and then create stories. So there's also a story in there, which includes her siblings, and with all the sight words, so we could help with AI create a whole story line, and was able to have her siblings' names, her mom, me, all that with her new sight words for the week. And so that's just something just being sitting down was able to do. Being still for a minute.
I absolutely love it, and it warms my heart. It makes my heart happy to see that, and I'm sure everybody in the audience can agree. If you agree with what I'm talking about, drop a one in the chat area there, or
Thank you
drop an
guys so
emoji or
much.
something. I love, love, love what you're doing there, my friend. It's just
Thank
wonderful.
you. Okay, and one more little thing. A post commander of the American Legion reached out to me. He's also a certified chef, and so he knows that I've been putting things together for, veterans, the Lady Veterans Unite. And so he asked if he can be the chef, and because he's the post commander, American Legions, in which they have offices and community centers all around. He asked if I would partner up with him. He's also 100% total permanent. He said, "Yeah, no, we don't need money, but at least with our business, we can do something so we can cover our monthly costs." And so wants to do something with me. And I'm telling you, finding food and facilities are the highest costs. You don't want to charge a lot, or you don't want to charge really anything to help the veterans. But the fact that he came with the idea that covers the facility and the food, and I just have to come up with an idea and bring the people together is really a great thing. And the fact that he sought me out, so that was really cool too.
I love that, man, and
Yeah.
congratulations. You know, all
Thank
this that
you.
we're talking about here, especially if you're new to our Monday Mastermind, this is in direct alignment with all of it, with this whole lost transition and going from the JOB to having what we like to call freedom. And ultimately, I'm talking about time freedom to be able to do the kind of things like what you're seeing here from Drea that are heart centered and leading with presence and purpose, which is exactly what we're going to talk about today. As Rita's saying in the chat there, people are watching, my friend. We say this all the time. If you've been around me at all, any point in time, I say, pretend like everyone's watching because they are, right? So you're doing some amazing things there, girl. Just keep it up. I love every Monday coming here and listening to these updates. It's fabulous, fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for the love. Thank you for the love group. I appreciate y'all.
Oh man, you're just awesome. You make my Mondays. Keisha, did you have something you wanted to share too, my friend? I think I saw your hand go up. And for those of you that are new, if you have some wins from last week that you'd like to celebrate with us, feel free to raise your hand and tell us about it. Go ahead, Keisha. You're muted, dear.
I went to my mom's car dealership the other day to get her car tuned up. And while I was there, I made some connections. And one of those connections gave me two more connections. And I have two new clients as of yesterday actually paid their deposit, so they're clients.
There you go. That's what's up.
And I still haven't actually closed the guy who sent me the two referrals, but it's his wife and one of his colleagues. But and with him, it's just a matter of catching him because he's a salesman and he's an auto dealer. He works at an auto dealership, so he doesn't get home until like 8, 9 o'clock. And during the day, of course, he can't be on the phones.
For sure.
So that's the only reason I believe I haven't closed him as yet. So I thought that was interesting. And then my cousin that I talk to on a regular basis, I got a phone call from his brother who I never speak to, not because there's any beef. We just run in different circles. So I honestly thought something was wrong. I picked up the phone. He goes, I heard you help people start their businesses and da 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 da. And I was like, okay. So I designed his logo. I did
Wow.
it for his website, the whole 9 yards over the weekend also. I did not charge him, but he did send me money anyway.
Love
So
it.
that was actually kind of cool.
Love that. Well, congratulations. Hey, did you ask him like, oh, really? Where'd you hear that from or any of that?
No, I know his brother. I knew it was his brother.
Oh, okay.
His brother is my biggest supporter and always has been. He was the youngest cousin for the longest,
Uh,
and he does not make his mouth loud, but he is the one person that everybody talks to. And it's
uh,
15 of us, so it says something.
love that. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Word of mouth is always and will always be the best form of
Most of my
advertising.
clients come from either a previous client or somebody who's been watching me do things for others.
That's what's up. Man, congratulations, girl. Congrats. That sounds like you had a great weekend there. Got all twisted and everything and made some
I
money.
did while I was listening to dirty novels on my phone all weekend. That's what I did
I gotta love it. Enjoying your time and making some money. That's what we're talking about here. Love it. Thank you for sharing, my friend. Anybody else got anything they want to share? I love those glasses, Vicky, by the way, that I saw you. Go ahead, dude. Vicky. Where's the other Vicky? Where's your partner in crime? You're muted, dude.
Most of my wins this week are mindset related. Um, I have had some new members and some new signups and
Yeah.
things, but it was a particularly hard week. Um, and so on the home front, and
Yes.
so you know how difficult things of mindset can be when things of the heartstrings are pulling you away, but I've made it through all. And my daughter had to have emergency surgery, and it's just been an incredible week. She's fine, she's home. But what I'm the most proud of, as far as I'm concerned, is that I was able to push through, not let it pull me down, keep going forward, not stop my motivation, not stop my fire. And so I've been kicking it, and I'm still kicking it, and so I'm grateful for all of that.
I love it.
That's my wins for this week.
Love it. Thank you for sharing, Vicky. Yeah, those who've been following know that Vicky's been through all kinds of struggles, and she is the voice of perseverance, if you will. Look up in the dictionary. There's probably a picture of her face. If there's not, there should be. All right. Thank you for sharing, girl. It really is about mindset, right? And it's going to tie
Oh,
into what
oh,
we're
and I
talking
know this sounds silly, and I don't know if I announced it already, but I've had a long struggle with my health and stuff. And
about.
I've been working really hard on getting my body back into being physically right.
Sure.
Well, by gosh, I can go out after the struggle for the last 19 months, and I can mow the lawn all by myself. And I
Well,
know that sounds stupid, but it's exhilarating because I can do it. And I am so very much like, ooh, I'm
No, that doesn't sound stupid at all, man. And if you ever want to come visit, mow my lawn, by all means. I'm teasing, of course. I do my own mowing.
Hey, Vicky, since I'm closer, you could come over here.
Next thing you know, Vicky's gonna be
We'll
opening up
cancel the agenda for
a
the
lawn
weekend.
business. Thank you for sharing, dear. I appreciate that. Anybody else? Anybody else? Going once, going twice, going to Rita? Going to Rita and her twin?
I'm having computer difficulty. Too many windows are opening and I don't know why. So I wanted to do a share, but I can't do that. So I'll just talk about it for a brief second.
Uh,
Oh, real quick, it's because I think I still have control of the share thing. So if you want to take back control.
No, it just that no, it's not that.
Oh, oh,
It's
okay.
gone wackadoodle
Okay.
again. Um so anyway, one personal one that I was able to complete. I'm really excited that we had some work done on our home, and this was done some time ago. So now it is, it came to the part with the sanding, and I thought like I was raised to be very independent. So I'm like, okay, I can do this. So I ended up sanding, no, what do you call it? When you fill it in with spackling or spackle, and then when it dries, you sand it and da 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 da. And then I'm in the painting stage. So I found some paint that said super white, but it looks like a light gray. I don't know what that is, so I'll probably have to get some more. So I was excited to almost to get that done. Lastly, I have to do the baseboard. That's on the personal side. And on the side of work side, I was able to, I wanted to show you my little cutie pies, my money mastery for Munchkins, working with AI, also working with Blakester and also Virgil on Saturday, that I was able to get more clarity, which I'm always getting clarity until I have my path. But I was able to see where I could blend everything together, but yet keep them separate. So my new munchkins are I have two girls, and then I also have two boys. And if I put them all together, it would have been too much in the picture, or maybe they can make them smaller. I don't know. But right now it's good because I can interchange them in and out. And I was really excited about that and understanding my path now. So that's those are my wins. Excited for the journey. Back to you.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to seeing how you're going to intertwine all of those. And yeah, they're just like Virgil likes to say, they're assets, right? So she created some beautiful assets that she'll be able to use in her marketing. So I'm looking forward to seeing those.
Hey,
Thank
look, I forgot something.
Yeah,
You know, I got to do my
yeah,
dance.
do the dance, girl.
So my ending dance. All right, usually in the beginning, but I got sidetracked.
Love it. Thank you. Anybody else have any wins from last week that they want to share? Now's your time. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Oh, and Curtis said it's drywall. Kayla?
I'll share.
Sure, please do,
It's
Kayla.
Sam.
Sam,
Hi. Hey,
pleasure
so
seeing you here today.
I know it's been a while. We I've been working on a product line made from natural beeswax. For I call it for humans and for pets.
Cool.
And I finally pulled it all together. I've got a few different labels that I'm working on,
Nice.
and so it's getting ready to hit market, I'd say in 2 to 4 weeks. I was having a problem because the tins I wanted to do in a sage green, and I'm finding it difficult to be able to get, it's going to take me longer to get that, so I'm kind of rethinking. So I'm worried if running out and everything, then I'm now bound to that long turn time. I'm being able to get something in to be able to source that. But we've had great success with it on humans for the properties in the beeswax, for like acne, adult acne. I'm getting ready to test it on some teenagers as well. But no more primer for women for underneath their makeup. It handles all of that. It doesn't stay greasy. It moisturizes. it's not supposed to have, and we're looking at putting some form of SPF in it, but beeswax itself has a little bit that's there. But we went to Disney on Sunday, everyone else got burned, and I had no burn. But yet it's not supposed to be known for having SPF that way, but I didn't burn and everybody else did. So I found that kind of interesting for the dogs. Amazing on the paws where it's always dry and cracked and rough, like in between the toes. Within 3 days of every day putting it on, brought it completely gone. Like looked like totally different paws. Started using it in the coat. We have a German Shepherd, so I've been testing in the coat, and because I wanted a fragrance to be coming up, it's just natural beeswax.
Mhm.
So it is actually making the dogs smell really good. So even like if you bathe them, like at the next day, they always smell like they smell like dog. And so this is helping being able with all of this because I got vitamin E and everything in there. It's been absolutely amazing. The noses soft within 2 days. Like it's been incredible on it, and I've got like 20 local stores that are wanting to put it on shelf, and then I've got it going into our online store.
Wow. Well,
So
congratulations.
I'm
Hey,
very happy.
well, I would be, Sam. And look, thanks for popping in and gracing us with your presence there, my dear. Where you been? Where you been?
I've
I guess you've been busy, huh?
I've been busy. We went from trying to do just the Christmas store to realizing it's not, it's not an all year with all the algorithms and everything.
Yep.
I've learned a lot from you and Brett. So that's why I was like, I need to pop back in on my psychology side and really looking at this and kind of going through those steps that we did before on, I had a whole branding kit that I put together. So I mean, I've learned and realized certain things that I have to make sure are there.
Love it. Love it. Wow. Wow. I'm so happy that you joined today. I really, really am. And
Yes.
thank you for sharing that. You have been busy, and I'm really happy to see and hear. And I don't know if you noticed or paid attention, but I did because I do. Most people that you see that are on video were actually very impressed with what you shared,
Oh,
not only on the level of humans, but also for animals, because, a lot of us have animals and they are our kids. So,
yes.
really, congratulations, Sam, on all your success so
Thank
far.
you. We
Man,
also, I also am launching, I just launched is our pet jewelry. So what I didn't
that's
expect was
already-
the large breed dog owners wanting jewelry for them. I thought it was gonna be like a small dog thing. So now
yeah,
I've had to go back and kind of go back to finding larger pearls and,
that's so
gemstones and
cool.
that type of thing. So we're trying to do something that's more like a Pandora,
Yeah.
and where you have all the charms for the jewelry and the collars, and so
Sure.
that's been fun too. It's everything seems to be around pets these days. I don't know what happened.
Well, it's a pretty big market, right?
Yeah,
So that's awesome, Sam. Thank you again for coming
thank
and sharing.
you.
I encourage you to keep coming back if you have the time every
I
Monday.
do.
Keep
I
us
do.
abreast of the situation and stuff. We do stream it now on YouTube. We've been doing this now for 3 years.
Yeah.
So 3 years, every single Monday, consistently, have not missed a beat. So I'm pretty proud and happy about that. With that, I'll transition, and thank you again for sharing, Sam. I'll transition into what we're going to talk about today. Again, this is week 28, awareness and manifestation leading with presence and purpose. As mentioned, we've been doing this show for over 3 years now. The beginning of January, and thank you, Sam, for being here and mentioning Brett's name. You're at the right place at the right time, for a reason. I believe that everything happens for a reason. But when my business partner, for those of you that don't know, Brett passed away, it was definitely challenging to say the least for me. Uh, this weekend, I leveled up to level 56, and over my birthday, it wasn't just about so much like celebrating another year. I took some time to sit and reflect on some massive things that I want to share with you guys today that coincide exactly with what I want to talk to you guys about and help you with. Because look, I learned many years ago, I guess it kind of started out from the military. I learned this word, what I like to call, or is called compartmentalization, right? And from what I've learned over the years and doing the self-reflection over my birthday, I've learned so many things over the years, and compartmentalization is one of the biggest things that I like to talk about because when it comes to, listening to Vicky when she talks about mindset and understanding how important that is, mindset was something that was taught to me again in the military, right? And mindset is, although it's very big and a lot of people talk about it, and some people say, oh, mindset again. It's important that we really understand like why it's so important. And really it comes down to one of my favorite words that I like to say, and that's awareness. And with awareness, when you have the proper awareness, you can also do what we call manifesting, right? So if you're watching out there on YouTube land and you've heard these terminology before, you're not quite sure how it works, and you'd like to be able to maybe manifest something good in your life, you've come to the right place. That's what today is going to be all about. Okay. I'm going to share some personal things, some tips, some conversations with you. I'm going to try to wrap it up by the hour, but I will tell you and warn you. We used to do these shows and we would run 2 hours. So stick around as long as you can, get what you can out of it. Definitely take some notes, but I want to share some things with you today that really happened over the course of this weekend. And I'm going to do my best not to get too emotional or anything like that. But there was quite a bit of reflection over the weekend, um, 11 and then up to level 56. I say that jokingly, but fun loving because I like to look at life in general like a video game. And that's because that's who I was and have been all of my life. Like I started doing video games at a very young age. My nickname was Video Bob. And that's just the way that I was brought up, so to speak. But when I go back to what I talk about with military and compartmentalization and mindset, it really is this trap that I talk about that I've personally experienced. And many of you watching have probably experienced at least one or more of the things that I'm going to speak of. And that's, growing up in an environment, especially in the United States, where you're taught at a very early age to say, hey, it's the land of the free and the brave, and you can grow up, you can be whatever you want to be. And you tend to have these aspirations to do things. And then many times, especially in my situation, I had very big dreams, right? But then right around, I guess around high school time, when you get close to potentially moving into college, I heard things like, get your head out of the clouds. Why don't you go get a real job? Why don't you go work for somebody that's going to pay you consistently, right? These were the things that were drilled into my head. And during this reflection, I thought to myself, like many of you have heard part of this story, that I really didn't understand my true worth until I went out and I started doing direct marketing, banging doors, going door to door on a commission only basis. Meaning that if I didn't get any sales for that day, I didn't get paid. Therefore, no sales, no eat. That was the life that I led for over 20 years. That's how my life was structured. You hear Dorea talking about structure and all this, calendar and timelines and stuff. That was my structure, right? But it wasn't till I want to say roughly 6 years ago when I ran into, it was before that I ran into this gentleman, but it was a book that he wrote that he put out that I want to share with you guys that I've mentioned before. But before I get into that, let me go ahead and share some slides that I got prepared because yes, I did bring slides, but no, I don't have duct tape on them yet. But before I want to dive too deep into this awareness and manifestation, those of you guys that were around last Monday and have been following this story, particular story, I want to just kind of bring to light this. There was a friend of mine, Leanne, that posted a very instrumental post. Thought it was very motivational. Like when I see stuff, it takes a lot to motivate me, but this post that she put out was very motivational. I told the story about it, and then I also asked everybody that was in the audience if they would take the time to do it. I don't know if anybody did, but I did. I got my Goya beans. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you might have to go back to one of our past episodes. You got your Goya beans? Anybody got your Goya beans? If not, you should. Uh, there's just kind of to surmise, if you weren't there, there was a story about a mentor who went with the student and he asked the student, well, the student came to him and said, "Hey, what should I do?" Right? And the the teacher, the coach said, "Go to the store, go find you some Goya black beans, bring them back, take a snapshot, and send me a picture. Show them that you did it." So the person did it, came back, sent the snapshot, and said, "Okay, what's next?" And he explained to the person that did this action, he said that was all that was required. So I found that very like eye-opening, enlightening, use whatever words you want to use in there. I loved it. And the best part about this is when you think about Goya, really Goya stands for get off your ass. There's really nothing more to it than to do it, as we used to say in the military, right, Dorea? Ain't nothing to it but to do it. But going back to my conversation, what I'm talking about, we end up in this trap, if you want to call it that, this mindset, situational awareness, especially if we're not in the military and don't know these things. Really, what it comes down to is programming, right? Programming from a very early age. Even when you get programmed to think that you can have, do, or be anything in the world, it is true, you can. But then many times throughout life, right? And drop a five in the chat if you're feeling what I'm picking up, what I'm throwing down here. There's people that will come into your life and they will tell you you can't do it. There's people that will tell you go get a real job. There's people that will tell you all kinds of negative things. But it's not so much that they're right because they're 100% wrong. I'll tell you that. And really, what it stems from on the psychological side of things is that they don't believe in themselves enough to do the things that you're saying or referencing that you're going to do. Right? The other side of that, which is really sick and twisted, but it's part of the human, psyche, if you will, is they're afraid, many are afraid to see you succeed. They don't know how they can act or would act if you actually made what it was that you were talking about. If you made that $1 million, bought that house, whatever it was, right? So we're going to break this down for you guys with this. And again, we're talking about awareness and manifestation, leading with presence and purpose. For this Monday Mastermind, I want to dive in deep. And again, this is really part of a self-reflection of the past 50, well, let's say 50 years, because I can't remember too much when I was 6 years old. But we have to start off with what is awareness, right? You've heard me mention this before. And the way that I see it, and I was speaking to Rita about this, and perhaps she'll come on here in a moment and say a few things. We all know what awareness is. We all have probably heard of it. But as I was mentioning to you, it wasn't until, say, about 6 or 7 years ago that I truly understood what it meant to have awareness. Like, even though I already knew it because of my military experience, right? Dorea, if you know what I'm talking about, we are taught to be aware of everything that's going on around us, right? So we know and we've learned to focus on one point to be able to see everything around us, right? We lay our head on a swivel. So we always knew what awareness was, but it wasn't until about 6 or 7 years ago that I really got what it meant to have awareness, but in the physical realm of what it is that we're talking about, what it is that we're doing out here now. not in this situational awareness of being in a combat role on a field of combat. Okay, I need you to understand the difference there, right? We're not talking about wartime situational awareness, but your own awareness. And that awareness is, like it shows here, is just non-judgmental observation of your present moment experience. Like right now, I want you to take a deep breath and let it out. I want you to be aware of how you feel right at this particular second. Okay. Part of this awareness that I want to explain and share with you guys is that you don't attract what you want, right? Many times we like, oh, I want this or I want that. You attract what you are aware of. That's the difference. So there has to be a slight shift in the mindset on how to understand what true awareness is so that you can use the situational awareness to start manifesting better things in your life. Okay. And I do recommend this. This is what I'm talking about right here. Okay. This book called Immediate Happiness by my friend Anil Gupta. This is the book that I read, I want to say about 6.5, 7 years ago. And one of the things that I did, and I literally, I was like at that point in time, I was coming back into the internet marketing world. I was in the middle of the Colorado wilderness, completely off grid, with only internet of my phone. That was where I was at this time that I'm telling you that I learned more about awareness because I was introduced to this little book right here. So what I started doing online on Facebook is I started doing the things that I was taught by my mentor, taking little lessons that I had learned and sharing my story. And most of them were in video parts. So I told everybody, hey, over the next 30 days, I'm going to take this book and I'm going to share excerpts of this book with you guys. Today is such and such, and today we're talking about communication, right? And I would literally just pull excerpts of this. But in doing that, I didn't realize that I actually went on my own little journey through telling my story of what I was actually doing. And what ended up happening was quite amazing. And I know I'm telling you this long-winded story for a reason. Because I want you to really understand, like, this birthday for me was pretty monumental. The paths that I went down, the memories that I took, the situational awareness that uh, I was led to. But I do recommend that you get that book. Right? But when you read it, you'll understand why the things that are in your life right now are there. And why, if you complain about those little things in your life that are there, that could lead to bigger problems in your life. But bear with me, hang in, okay? I know that's quite a mouthful to say. Stick with me, okay? We're going to cover this. But here's how this works, right, to understand awareness. We go through this loop, and I'm going to cover this loop with you because it's very important to understand this loop. So if you're not taking notes yet, you should be, okay? This is where the gold gets dropped in your lap. This is where the magic happens. So in order to understand this loop and to be able to start manifesting things, really, you need to understand this loop. And I'm gonna do my best to take you back into the recesses of your own mind. And if you cooperate, feel free as the time comes about to discuss. But we're gonna go through this awareness loop, and I trust that the information that I'm going to share with you today is going to be something that maybe you haven't experienced before. That's how that's how emotionally vested in today's episode that I am for you. because the way that I like to explain this is the better emotional triggers that you have are what's going to give you better results, right? So to give you kind of an example, I go back to the conversation about Rita. Rita, do you mind if you would just kind of share what you told me about the dream state and stepping into that reality? Could you share that with us real quick?
Yeah, I I learned early, probably over 20 some years ago, about getting answers to things that where I had questions, or when I get to my wits end and things just don't make sense. So, just general background, I have this is my third marriage, and when I was dating, or when I was married as well, after that, when I couldn't get answers to what was going on, I would just ask out loud, whoever you want to call, spirit, God, whoever, Jehovah, Buddha, doesn't matter. Whoever you talk to. I like to think I have angels. And so when I was serious, really serious about something, I could ask and I would get an answer. And one of the things that I got an answer to was I I I was asleep, and when I was asleep, I had a dream, and throughout the dream I went through a series of events in my home. Then I woke up and I was able to walk through that same dream that was occurring in my home in real life. And it was really, really odd to just go through the exact same thing. It was like deja vu. And Blake's
That's the word I couldn't come up with.
and we kind of thought it was, perhaps um, in another. If you're a Trekkie or a Star Trek or sci-fi person, the best thing I can relate it to is that you're in different stages in different planes of your life, and you're depending upon that time frame. That time, it happens in seconds and milliseconds, and so as we are going through those different planes, you can kind of see where I am. Oh, back, rewind a little bit. Oh, I see what I did. Okay. Oh, but up here, you're way over here. So that's a something that I just adopted, uh, like maybe a month ago. But just to understand that process, and then when you ask and you receive your answer, and being able to walk through it, or um, experience or get the answer that you want. And I think that's what you want me to share, right?
Yes, and one second, Keisha. So from that, when she told me that, I said, you know what? That sounds like to me like you're actually stepping into a parallel universe or stepping into the person that you want to be. And those of you that have been here for a while, or even if you're new, what we mostly cover in here is a lot of times is just stepping into our power and becoming the leaders that we're meant to be, right? Because you looking to grow your businesses in direct correlation with that. If you can't step into your power and use your voice the right way with the proper communication to explain how things work, you've seen it in action here since we started, then there's no way that your business is going to grow, right? But that's what it reminded me of, and I kind of explained to her. I said, the beautiful part about where she's at in her journey is that if she can go into a dream state and do those things and actually dream about what she wants to have in reality, then she's going to be able to step into those realities a lot quicker, right? Part of why that is on the psychological level is because in the dream state is where a lot of your the back of your recess is, right? Everything happens in your subconscious mind. So a lot of the dream state that happens is dealing with your subconscious as well. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that here in the next slide or two, but I'm going to cut into the awareness loop so that we understand it a lot better so that you guys can take notes. But before we go into that, Keisha, what did you want to add?
Now, I was saying Jim Quick has a book called Limitless. He teaches you how your brain actually works, right? And he was saying that one of the things that helps you to be more productive during your next day is before you go to bed, write down all the things you want to accomplish the next day. And the reason you do that is time does not exist in the dream state. So
Yep.
therefore, your brain has more time in dream state to work out whatever problems you have going on in your wake time.
Right.
So, and I find that I do that a lot because when I tell people all the time, when I dream, it's not like I go and I have random dreams. I treat my dreams like Netflix. Like I'm not doing that and I'm not doing that. Okay, we're going to talk about this tonight. That's how I deal with my dreams 95% of the time. And the few times I don't, my dreams are all crazy. So,
Love that. No, I love that. And
so
thanks for sharing it. We did share that kind of stuff on a past episode, exactly what she's talking about. Jean was here. We talked about writing things down in the morning, in the afternoon, and even at night, especially before you go to bed. If you want to create those patterns, those are some extra tips and tricks to be able to do that, right? But yeah, you're absolutely right. Write it down before you go to bed and then take it to bed. And I love the way that she puts that is say, think of it like Netflix. And no, I don't like that part of the story. And literally be able to rewrite that story within your brain, within your subconscious while you're sleeping, then that's going to obviously help you out. That's kind of what we're getting at here. But to go into this awareness loop so that we really understand it and dig deep into it, is number one, the cue, right? So the cue is what triggers the pattern. Okay, write that down if you need to. What triggers the pattern? So what I mean by that is it a situation? Is it a person? Is it a sound? Vicky, you know what I'm saying? Like for what you were just going through with your personal life, right? What triggers that emotion or that person, that sound, that memory, right? Anything that activates whatever your subconscious is for however that person or circumstance makes you feel. Remember, we're talking about this on an emotional level because, as I've said before, it's all vibration, right? It's all frequency. So if you understand these things at the root cause and you can get psychologically rooted in it, understand how it works, throw stuff into the back of your subconscious mind and then simply step into your new reality, right? Whatever that reality is. Now, an example of the cue is you see somebody close a deal on social media. Maybe it's that. What is that cue though? Figure out whatever that cue is. Maybe it's I don't know. Pick insert whatever your issue is. How is that emotional response? What is it that you're feeling? Secondly, let's go to thought. Okay. Now, what do you tell yourself about that cue? What just happened? Right. This goes back to as the word is situational awareness. So this happened. How did that make me feel? What do I tell myself about that? Right? So what is the thought behind that? Because what happens is your mind is automatically going to form some kind of story. Remember, we talked about learning how to how to ask good questions and tell stories. There's another reason behind that, behind everything that we talk about, right? And mostly it's because, again, you're dealing with the mind and the psychology of how people react or act or how they tick is the way that I like to say it. But your mind's going to form that story and it's going to be automatically rooted in whatever programming that you already have. Another example that comes to my mind is, oh, maybe I won't go live because I'm afraid of what people might think of what I say. That's just one that pops up into my mind, right? Maybe that's true to somebody that's in here. I don't know. Or that thought, maybe you've had this thought, oh, they're so lucky. They're so lucky. You see somebody winning. Oh, they're so lucky, right? I know I've seen people do and say that. And that's because they have no awareness of what they're saying. Remember the communication, the words that are coming out of your mouth are very important. It's spelling for a reason. You can create the spell, create your future, create what it is that you want. Just like you were told and I was told when I was a kid, you can do, have, or be anything that you want in life, right? So we start off with the cue, we go to the thought, now the emotion. How did it make you feel? Right? And that thought of how it made you feel, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, look it up. It's called endorphins. There's little triggers and things that go off in your mind inside of your brain, releases chemical endorphins. That's why sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're sad. And it goes back to the emotional connection of having the awareness loop. How did that make me feel? Many of you guys have heard me say, be married to the process and divorced from the outcome. That's awareness, being completely emotionally unattached from what happens. Now, don't get me wrong here, guys, with what I'm about to say. Right? I'm not saying don't grieve. Right? I'm not saying don't grieve if you have somebody that you lost. Like it says at the bottom, you have to trace back repeated outcomes to uncover what is the awareness gap? What happened last time? When Brett passed away, it was tough. It was tough for me to not go into the deep, dark, black hole abyss and going into that depressional state and literally stopping everything that I was doing, everything that I'd worked for. Because if you know you've been around for some time and you know what happened, kind of thing could stop somebody in their tracks. I did at one point in time wonder, should I continue? Should I carry on? I had to go through these awareness loops and then say, well, look, I'm there, I had to mourn because it's part of the process. But I also know and understand at level 56 that it's, again, part of the process, right? So many people fear death. I don't anymore. I don't. I haven't for many years because I understand it's part of the process. But when I look back at my business partner, friends, Brett, my sister Renee, my dear friend Melanie, that, you know, I lost in a trailer fire, her and her kids many, many years ago. I learned through those tragedies how to be able to accept death, how to be able to be okay with it, and how to be able to move on, right? To have better emotional triggers in my life so that when something negative happened in my life, I didn't have that knee-jerk reaction to freak out, right? It goes back to these things in this awareness loop that I've been doing for decades and kind of didn't really realize it. But going back to the story and how this book came into my life, it was only 6 years ago-ish that I picked up that book and started reading Immediate Happiness. And next thing you know, I started stepping into this different reality that I'm talking about. There was a woman by the name of Diane that reached out to me 38 years. I hadn't heard her voice, didn't know anything about her, didn't even remember her name. All of a sudden, on Facebook, hey, aren't you Robert that grew up in El Paso? I said, wait a minute. Do we know each other? Is this a trick? I ain't your baby daddy, am I? I didn't understand, didn't know. But from that, she had to remind me of this thing that happened back when I was 15 and back when she was 10. And little did I know it because I didn't remember, but we had our first kiss. Before I even found love, it was right there to begin with, all along. And then because I didn't have the situational awareness at the time, I didn't know anything about it. Now, granted, it was out of my control because my parents moved me to the east side. And then what happened was when we moved, she wondered, hey, where did this guy go? Right? But as I tell in the music video story that I created over the weekend, to me, it wasn't important as it was to her going into that closet. She had more of a situational awareness and held on to that for 38 years. So I said I would be a fool to not pursue that relationship. Moving into that relationship and stepping into that different reality, I went from being off grid, completely off grid, living in a trailer, right? No working water, no power, to her parents or her dad going up there, grabbing just the clothes off my back, enough a suitcase, like that was it, just what I could carry, to moving into a trailer on the side of her parents' house that again had no running water, right? Had electricity, so we were good there. To then finally stepping into and manifesting a trailer house of our own in New Mexico. And then there were some circumstances that came up, just people trying to be people and stupid things. So we ended up not having a place to stay. And luckily, because of the relationships that I had built, I had a friend of ours that allowed us to stay on her property over in Pecos, Texas. Completely, again, off grid for the most part. Um, but then what happened is throughout that, I had the ability because I was with my wife and because of the things that were going on and the direction that we're moving towards, I was able to pre-qualify for the house that I'm in now. Right? That pre-qualification happened. We moved in. This is where we're at. So now, the reason I'm telling you this story is because literally within 4 to 5 years, I changed my entire life. I stepped into this new persona, this new lifestyle, the way that I wanted it to be. I now have the most perfect wife that I could ask for that's loved me my entire life. I have my house, my dream house. All I wanted with my house was to have a 3 bedroom. So we had a bedroom, we had a bedroom for company, and I had a bedroom for my office, which I have now. I I've always wanted a 69 Camaro. If you try to get a 69 Camaro brand new restored, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. I went the best route ever, and we got a red Dodge Challenger. It's modeled after the 69 Camaro. It wasn't until I sat down and did this awareness loop and thought about it, all of it was manifested. All of it was manifested. And it all came from what I'm showing you here on this board. It came from the cue and understanding what that situation was at whatever that moment of time was and how my reaction was to it, how my emotion was towards it. Was I emotionally invested or not? Right? Went down to thought, what do I tell myself about this? Am I going to make this happen? Or am I, I'm thinking about making it happen? Right? Because words mean things, and we're going to get into that in just a moment here. So you really grasp the point of what I'm trying to drive home to you today and understanding how this awareness loop works. And once you tie it into your day-to-day life, you'll start getting better things to happen. And it really goes back down to that mindset and how you feel about things. So we take the cue, we take the thought, what's the emotion, right? How does it make us feel? And then the fourth step is action. What do you do about that person, that emotion, that trigger? What do you do about that cue? Right? You hear me say all the time, choose your battles. Do you choose your battle and battle it, or do you just brush it off to the side? What is that situational awareness going to be with whatever that cue is, right? Because you can allow things to happen in your life or you can create things to happen in your life. But that as of the result of the cue, the thought, the emotion, the action, we get that result. What is the outcome, right? What is the outcome that you create from that cue, right? I'll tell you as an example for, this whole process as we move forward. We've used the example of a red car before, and it's even funnier, Rita, if you remember, we've talked about this before I even had my red car. Do you remember? Uh, People might be like, what are you talking about, Ron? Okay, what I'm talking about is again going back to an old frame of mind that we referenced when we talked about awareness. And whereas if you're going from your home to the office, let's say, and I asked you, how many red cars did you see on your way to work? You would not be able to tell me because you weren't looking. You didn't have the awareness. You remember what I'm talking about now, Rita? And I was saying this live with Brett in the room, talking about this awareness. I'm pretty sure he was there. And I just ended up with a red car. And you know what was even funnier after I got that red car? I started seeing red cars just like it everywhere. I started seeing challengers coming out of the woodworks in different colors. I went and took my mother over this weekend to go get her haircut. Person pulled into the parking lot with a challenger with a beautiful paint job. Everybody understand? You guys getting what I'm telling you? Like it's weird and wild. And I have these conversations with Rita. It's like being in the Matrix, but understanding that you're really there. And then being able to dodge that bullet as a matter of reference, right? So, what is the result? So, cue, thought, emotion, action, result. If we can tap into these things and then trace back to a time like, where are you now and why are you this way? This helps resolve old conflict as well, right? I can tell you this from personal experience. You're still hanging on to or harboring something that happened in your past. Like, I've got stories, my friend. We can swap them. I've had some shitty things happen in my life too, right? But my difference is I can't hold on to those. I've let them go. I've had this situational awareness loop going on even when I didn't know it was going on. But when I understood it and understood awareness better, now I could use it to my advantage more. Now I could get things faster that I really wanted. Right? We've also had the conversation to say, I have so many people that have come to me and we have this conversation and say, well, what is it that you want? I say, I just want to be happy. Well, what does that entail? Right? If you don't write it down, you don't know what it is that you want. You're not going to be in any kind of awareness loop. You're just going to be in a loop of despair and not wonder why can't you're going to be that one. How come things don't work out for me? Why is this not everything? Every time I turn around, right? And then you turn into that kind of person. So why does it really matter? Well, if you want different results, don't just change your actions. Go back to the cue and the story that you tell yourself. That's what the message is, right? If you learn this loop, you'll be able to spot what is the unconscious pattern that you're automatically doing when this person shows up in your life. Hint, hint, something that pops up into my brain, and probably somebody that's going to be watching on YouTube, this might help, goes into my brain, going back to that same MFer that keeps treating you shitty all the time. If you find a negative loop, interrupt it immediately. Immediately, right? I think I should be on the next stair for this. But here's where we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the manifestation part. Really? Yeah, really. Okay. Manifesting is aligning your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and actions with your vision. Write it down if you need to. Because here's the fun part about this. If you don't have the thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and your actions aligned with your vision, then it's never going to happen. My bad. Now here's the cool thing that we could dig into that you'll really love is there's this thing called RAS. Okay, it's reticular activating system, and it's real. Okay, it's not just something that I made up, right? But when you understand part of this and you understand RAS in more detail, it'll help kind of tie in everything that I'm talking about here. Okay, so what RAS is just like a bundle of nerves, if you will, and they're right there at the base of your brain stem, if you will, right? And their job is kind of the best way to think of it is like it's the gatekeeper. Or maybe you can look at it like your search engine, right? And the way that it works, just in simple terms, is that you're already seeing all of these things, right? You have sounds, you have colors, smells, and movements, all these things that you run into on a day-to-day basis, right? Well, your reticular activating system is what kind of filters all that stuff out. Okay? Everybody with me so far? So you have a RAS that filters stuff out on a day-to-day basis. But the fun part is that you can train your RAS like what we're talking about with the situational awareness and understanding these loops. But it reminds me of and goes back to my example that I was talking about with the red car, right? When I went and got the red car, now all of a sudden I just saw red cars everywhere. And it was my RAS that made me realize and saw that they were there when in all reality they were there the whole time. I'll let you stew on that for a second. Drop a 5 in the chat area if you got what I just told you. They were there the whole time. So what does that mean? They're there the whole time. It's just for you to open up and use your RAS to be able to see what's already there. But this is crazy to me. When I started looking into this, I'm like, wow, wow. It is the gatekeeper. So your mind is obviously going to control what your awareness is and what you actually see, what you can envision and what you can manifest into your life. But if you don't have that and they're not all in alignment with what we're talking about, and they don't align with whatever your vision is, then they'll never manifest. Make sense to everybody? Right? Now, the reason that this ties into awareness and manifestation, right, is if you're thinking all the time, oh, I'm behind, I need to catch up, well, that's what your RAS is going to show you because your RAS is going to show you what you are saying is true. Goes back to, I'm not sure how I have said this before, but the subconscious, whatever you say out of your mouth, the subconscious is going to show it to be true, right? So you say, oh, I'm late. Well, yeah, It's going to show you to be late, right? But if you program it differently and you're saying more things like, hey, I'm in aligned with abundance, then those different things will show up for you, right? So it's again just changing your thought process, your communication, your the things that are coming out your mouth. Right? So 3 reasons that manifestation fails. Right here, misaligned identity. I'll try to wrap it up so I don't put anybody to sleep either. But if you guys get what I'm talking about, man, this is a powerful day today. You're learning some powerful things. This all stems back from me leveling up to 56. That's in here and doing some incredible revelations so that I can come and share these with you. But this is why manifestation fails. Misaligned identity. Or, as I mentioned earlier, emotional blocks. This is one of the biggest key factors. As I mentioned before, if you're still holding on to something in the past, going back to whatever that cue is that made you feel that emotional way and you're looking to move forward from it, you will never move forward until you get past that emotional block. You know, it's been said, and I've done this quite a few times too, it takes a breakdown to have a breakthrough. So it's okay to break down, my friends. It's okay to cry. I remember my young sister telling my living sister back then when she was 3 or 4 years old, telling Renee as she was crying, saying, it's okay to cry. It's okay to get that emotional release. It's okay to have the awareness to see how you feel emotionally so that you can move through whatever that block is. And then third, but finally, inconsistent action. If you're not taking the daily actions that are consistent with your vision and everything else that we talked about, then it's going to manifest slower. And I put in that conversation with Rita, I kind of cued that a little too early. And this was based off of what she was saying earlier, to be in that dream state and literally be able to walk into this new reality, right? Be able to manifest the things that you want. As I mentioned, we were in our house, I want to say within 4 years, right? So whatever reality that you're trying to manifest, you can do it. You just have to pay attention to these things that we're talking about. Now, how does it tie in to what we're on the like the power of presence and leadership stuff? Because this is what we're talking about when we say it's not about the sale, right? This affiliate marketing, network marketing thing, MLM, whatever you want to call it, has nothing to do with the sale. Has everything to do with yourself, with you, personal development. How do you grow to become the person that people want to even follow, right? What kind of message are you sharing? What kind of message are you carrying? It says people follow clarity. Are you clear in what it is that you want? Are you clear in your vision? Are you clear in the direction that you want to go? If not, that needs to be adjusted. It needs to be fixed, right? Presence builds trust. And you set the emotional tone, just like I'm setting the emotional tone right now with you. But you set the emotional tone with others, right? You can't fake presence, and people can feel the difference. So you need to be present in leadership. I want you to ask yourself, where have you been on autopilot? How have you been showing up the past month, the past 2 months? Are you just pushing papers around your desk, wondering what to do? Right? What's one thing your weekend self is telling your Monday self? What would it look like if you showed up just 10% more present? How would that look in your business world? How would that look in your personal world? What do you think? All right. So be more aware. This is the key word that we want you to come from today. Have this situational awareness to say, okay, this is what's going on in my life. Why is it going on? Who are the characters involved? What's the screenplay? Video game or movie? Either one, however you want to look at it, like Netflix or a video game. We've given you a couple of options. Who are the key characters? How do you want the movie to roll out? These are the things that you should be envisioning in your head. I want this type of success. Well, in order for you to get that, there's a few things that you're going to have to go through. There's levels that you're going to have to conquer, right? Got to get past the boss. Got to get past the boss to be the boss. But being more aware is what's going to help out. So, post birthday realizations, not only over the weekend, excuse me, but many times in my life, I like to say it, jokingly say, I like to ponder the complexities of the universe. And many times when I ponder the complexity of the universe, I realize I'm tolerating subtle misalignments. And maybe you are too. Maybe you're tolerating subtle misalignments without even realizing it. But as I mentioned earlier, if you don't address the misalignments, they're going to continue. So if you have somebody in your life that is causing you that misery, that pain, that emotional, and you don't address it because you're not in alignment with it, what do you think's going to happen? So to end the show, before we end the show, shall I say, and then we'll open it up for any questions, comments, concerns. I want you to be grateful for every moment. Because over the week and over this, span of coming up with and creating this, and asking the universe, God, say, hey, whew, use me as a vessel. What can I share? It'll be the most impactful to people on this Monday. We had a conversation this weekend about a friend of mine named Ben, who I worked with door to door. I believe he was 38 years old, died of alcohol poisoning. That's all he did, drank every single day. I was one of the last people that saw him the night before he died. I was one of the last ones that had a drink with him. And I thank God, and I'm very grateful for every moment that I wasn't the one that had to open up that motel room door and find him dead. I'm grateful for every moment. I thank God for bringing Brett into my life, for bringing one of the best and most amazing students that I've ever had in my life. Somebody that took all the teachings and things that I had learned and just soaked them up like a sponge, took them, interacted, and just used them to his advantage. I was at that point, those of you guys that know and were there, he was ready to just soar like a rocket ship. And tragically, he was taken from us. I was grateful for the time that I got to spend with Melanie. And to tell you a little bit about it, she's probably somebody that I might have been married today. My life might have been completely different. But Melanie came to me at a time that I was coming off of a bad relationship. So I wasn't very trusty. I didn't trust people, didn't want to be in a relationship. But she was there. It showed me nothing but unconditional love. She showed me what it meant to have somebody actually love you unconditionally, regardless of how you felt towards her. And I didn't see, I didn't see that kind of love because I wasn't aware. I didn't take the time, and I didn't see it until now, right? And with Melanie, that was back when 9/11 happened when I lost her. New Year's, get a call from her mother. Please, please tell me Melanie's with you. No, she's not, Mom. Why? Her trailer is engulfed in flames. That night I lost her and her two daughters. They were very dear and close to me. Again, I learned from experience how to take what was happening and understanding what was really happening, what those emotions were, how it made me feel. And back then it was tough, I tell you guys. I went into a dark spiral when I lost Melanie and her girls. And I didn't know if I'd ever pull out of it. But thankfully, with my past friends and loves and the relationships that I've had and met over the course of these years, here I am now. We've graduated to level 56. And my goal until I graduate this planet is to do anything and everything that I can, within reason, obviously, to help others understand these simple little things that I'm talking about. I call them simple, but it's only because I've been doing these things for most of my life. But to understand where it comes from on the business side of things, understanding the sales psychology that goes into it, the mindset, and then just again going back into our audience of those of you that participate, it just warms my heart. It makes me feel so good to seeing those of you that are out there winning and accomplishing things, especially when you take the things that we're teaching you here and changing your lives to where you want them to be, changing them and going from whatever that job is into whatever your version of freedom is. To me, it's time freedom to be able to be here with you guys every single Monday for the past 3 years and continuing on as long as we can. So I want to thank every one of you guys for showing up, because really showing up is 80% of the battle. If you get this enough times, things are going to start happening, moving in your life. But you gotta stay close to the fire, my friends. Gotta stay close to the fire. So I trust y'all got some value out of today. Um, Keep the ripple going. If now this is the first introduction of what I'm telling you and how to be more awareness, that's the access point. That's where it all starts, my friends. That's it. Once you have that awareness, manifestation is the method. What is it that you want out of life? Write it down. Write it down when you wake up. Write it down at lunch when you're having lunch. Write it down before you go to bed. What's going to happen is things are going to start happening in your life, and leadership is the result, right? So I'll open it up. If you guys like any final thoughts, questions, concerns, share what is your biggest awareness from today, if anything. Feel free to share.
There are other people on this call that are aware because 4 minutes before you talked about being awake, Tina said wide awake. And so a lot of like minded people on this call. So super cool.
So
Thank you.
I saw that. Thank you. And thank you for being here, Tina. I'm glad you showed up. Glad you made it. Like, seriously. Sam, too. Go ahead, Vicky.
It's not that I'm not awake. I keep yawning and stuff because of the fact that it's very, very hot here. I'm about to die of a heat stroke. But I got a lot of value out of this class, and it's making me think a lot deeper about what you said, especially to do with allowing misalignments. And so I'm going to dig deeper into that area.
Sure.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Many
Thank you.
hugs. Love you, man.
Love you too, girl. You remind me of my sister. I've told you that before. If you were to put my sister and you together, you guys be some. You'd be like Thelma and Louise, I'm sure. But even losing her, man, a couple years ago to cancer, like it was one of the toughest things that I think that I've ever had to go to or through. Losing Brett was one thing. Losing Melanie and her two kids was another. Losing Ben, like so many things and so much loss that I've been through, but it's taught me a lot of beautiful things. In death, there's beauty in death as well, unfortunately. Fortunately. Curtis, go ahead, brother. Appreciate you popping in. Share away.
Hey, good brother. I want to thank you for your vulnerability and your humility and everybody else on the call. Y'all been amazing. Y'all always are. I just been going through my own little struggles, but I just want to truly appreciate you for just that vulnerability, brother. That's like loss is something I deal with heavy too, and I shut down because I'm learning that the more I deal with losing people or just, I actually push people away. If I feel like I'm losing you, it's time for you to go. Just be on your journey because the alignment thing is really, really important to me. Like I tell people all the time how to deal with me, and people don't listen to you, and that's not on them. That's on you. If you keep dealing with them, because once you tell people how they're dealing with you, it ain't working for you. They got one or two choices. They can either work with you or they can just keep working the way they've been working the way they work. And you gotta respect that. I love people for who they are and not who I want them to be, but I need people to understand who I am and what I have to be. This is how I am and this is just how I function my best. So if I want to keep functioning my best, I know I have to keep evolving always, but I have to always be true to myself and how I learn. If you're trying to teach me something in a way that I can't learn it, or I'm just not open to learning it that way, you just gotta respect that that's not the way I'm going to learn from you. You gotta respect it. And I've been struggling with that with my personal situation and just my social situations. I just gotta get to the point where I can express that in a way where people don't get offended or just be done with me.
Right. Well, I thank you, Curtis, for sharing that and being vulnerable yourself. If you want, I'm totally open to connecting. We want to have a conversation about that at any time. I'll be here for you, brother. Totally be here for you. And that comes from somebody, obviously, as I've shared my stories, that totally understands how this works. Been through a lot of loss myself. And, you know, um, if you need that help, man, you want to chat, I'm here for you, brother. Plain and simple. Just reach out. Cool. Go ahead, Keisha. You're muted, Jay.
Going back to that beginning when you were talking about compartmentalizing and awareness, because for me, I think without those two things, I probably would not have been able to survive. Because most people don't know about me that before the age of 12, I was molested, kidnapped, raped, you know, and I lost my husband, who was my best friend from daycare at the age when my 2 months before my first granddaughter was born. So he and I were together for over 20 years before he died. And I felt like a part of my physical body was missing. And I still kind of do. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I cannot not function and still help my grandkids because he would want me to be there for my grandchildren. He would want me to be there for my kids. And then on the same day that my last granddaughter was born, my best friend died 2 hours before. So my body went into shock because I couldn't grieve or be happy. So I literally went into shock and my blood pressure went through the roof, the whole 9 yards. Didn't have problems with my pressure before. And that was the hardest thing for me to compartmentalize because I'm very good at putting things in a box, but then later on when it's appropriate, feeling those feelings. And I couldn't do that with this. I couldn't put them anywhere. And I had to be aware that that's what was going on with me. And that's why I was so shut down. And I had to fight like heck to be able to come out of that and be able to function. And to do that, I did turn to my grandkids because they've always been my why. And therefore, I I had to focus on I can't be down or they can't come up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And that slowly got me back to where you guys see me now. Most people see me and see me smiling all the time, and they don't realize there has not been a month of the time that y'all have known me that I did not bury a friend. Not 1 month in the last year and a half where I did not bury a friend. I buried every single person in my inner circle about 3 years ago. Every single person. And I have been trying ever since to rebuild my inner circle of, people who actually challenge me mentally. I love helping people. It's my heart, and that's the way I'll always be. But I also need somebody that challenges me to pull me forward so that I can help the folks that I'm helping. And that's always been a really, really hard thing for me to keep in perspective. So I have to be aware of where my head is, where my heart is when I'm doing something to know when to just stop, push away, take a deep breath, and then come back and fight. Because if I sit here while I'm in that negative space and try to do something positive, those two things can't exist at the same time.
exactly.
They just simply cannot. So when my head is in the bad space, I close my mouth. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
will not speak for a minute while I pull myself together because, especially being from the Caribbean and living in the South, my mouth hot when I get mad. And being an empath, I will tell you the things about yourself that you lie to yourself about. You know what I'm saying? So I can't take it back because it was true. I can't apologize because it was true. So I had to learn to just shut up when I'm mad. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that was a struggle for me because in Aquarius, we don't shut up. We will tell you about yourself in a heartbeat.
Well, I like that either way because when for lack of better terms, I hate using the word shut up. I like be quiet better. I think
Mm-hmm.
shut up is pretty rude. When people say shut up, I'll be like, no, no,
Well,
no.
if I said it to myself, I'm not being rude. If
No,
I said it to you, I was being rude.
I know. I'm just talking just out
Yes.
in general, right? But the beauty is as you're saying, you have that awareness to see that, and it helps you grow past that,
Mm-hmm.
having that awareness, which goes to show exactly what we're talking about. But if you never have that awareness, then you'll never get past that situation. That's the overall end
Seriously,
all
because
be
even
all.
when somebody comes at me sideways, I may shut down the argument, but I'm not going to keep it going. If you want to apologize, you come apologize. If you don't, you'll be fine because I was born by myself, I was raised by myself, and I'll be happy to function by myself. I'm okay. There's no human being on the planet that could tell me today, I never want to speak to you again, and it hiccup my day.
Right.
It may become a joke and anecdote that I tell later. You
I
know what
used
I'm
to,
saying?
you know what that reminds me of, actually, quite funny, and we'll end the show with this. My dear friend Melanie, we worked together, right? We were in the saves department at MCI, and I just asked her how was your day, babe? She said, it was great. I got called bitch 3 times today.
Well, listen, that happened to me at a gas station. A lady called me a bitch because I actually the gas station was ram full, and there was this old lady trying to put gas in this car, and you could tell this car, and whether it was a new car or not, it was new to her. She did not know where the gas tank was. And then when she tried to pull in, and she tried to adjust herself, a car tried to pull in, so I blocked the car from pulling in, and I let the old lady come in. The lady called me a bitch, and I looked at my watch. I was like, thank God it is 10:30. I did not think I was gonna make my bitch stretch today. Even the folks in her car started laughing.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, it truly is all about your mindset and how you act versus reacting to things. So appreciate each and every one of you guys being here today. I got a lot of value myself personally. I trust you guys did. We do have a How To Tuesday and Wednesday tomorrow. I'll be leading that up right here in the same room, same time. Hope to see you guys there tomorrow. If nothing else, we'll see you next Monday for another mastermind. Enjoy your weekend. Let's go out there, kick ass, take